Welcome, everybody, to the March Madness Preview Show on the Grueling True Sports Network. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Today, we've got a high-powered matchup between the Big Ten and the SEC, the two best conferences in college basketball this year. As Big Ten Conference champion, Michigan will battle the Texas A&M Aggies in a huge game with the winner headed to the Sweet 16. You can't say Michigan is not battle-tested. It seems like every game they play is decided by 3 points or less. Now, towards the end of the season, they did run through a rough spot where they got blown out 3 or 4 times in a row. They righted that ship in the Big Ten tournament and actually ran through and won the Big Ten championship, beating Wisconsin 59-53 in the championship game. Texas A&M is good enough. They've beaten Auburn, but they're bad enough that over the last few weeks, they finished the season 2-5. So what gives here? We know Michigan is savvy. They're battle tested. They came also close to ending up in overtime against UC San Diego in a game that the first half they completely dominated. And really, if they would have been making their free throws and they'd have cut the turnovers in half, they'd have probably been up by 20, maybe more points at halftime. They were clearly the better team, but they let UC San Diego hang around until UC San Diego got hot and had a chance to win the game. But as so often is the case in a close game, nobody's better than the cardiac Wolverines. Now, Texas A&M dealt with a very dangerous Yale team that had upset Auburn last year, and they played good. You know, there was no monster 13 over number 4 upset. It was an 80-71 win by Texas A&M over Yale. Now, why will Michigan win this game? It doesn't matter that much considering Michigan's bigs don't always play up to their size. But Texas A&M doesn't have the height. It's got the bulk and it owns the glass, but the Wolverines will more than hold their own on the boards. Forget about any threes from the Aggies. They're one of the worst outside shooting teams in America. That means they have to get to the rim and score inside, and that's a problem. This is where the Michigan size will be a big deal in this game. Now, Michigan's an odd team. It has talent. There's a little bit of depth. Very good coach in Dusty May, and it plays a nasty brand of defense, but it has a funky way of making everything hard on itself. You know, they should have cruised by UC San Diego, but they couldn't close them out, and it got them in trouble. It gives up runs. There's a streakiness to the style of play, especially on offense. And if A&M can get on the right side of the momentum, it should be able to get up and use the D to clamp down. It'll help that it should own the free throw line. The Aggies, you know, they shoot a ton of free throws. Michigan commits a ton of fouls. Now, who wins this game? Texas A&M was good enough to have beaten Auburn, as I said a few weeks ago, and crazy enough to finish 2-5. And that included losses to Vanderbilt and Texas. Now, they're not bad teams, but they're teams ranked, I guess, towards the bottom since almost the entire SEC made the Big Ten tournament. Now, Michigan is good enough to have won the Big Ten title and flaky enough to still be playing right now. And they're lucky and flaky because the Tritons knocked down a 3. That game's in overtime, and it wouldn't have looked good for Michigan, I don't think, if they'd had to play another 5 minutes. But I think this is going to be a close game. So do the bookies. Right now, the odds makers at BetMGM have Texas A&M as a 1.5-point favorite. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Michigan straight up to win this game. And I'm going to take Michigan. I'm going to take the 1.5. With Michigan, if you get any kind of points at all, you take them because every game they play is life and death and close as hell. So I think in the end, what happens here, I think this is almost a stalemate on the boards as you have Golden and Wolf, their size, but not tremendous rebounders against the bulky Texas A&M interior. I think that's going to be kind of a push. I think Michigan is the better defensive team. And I think Michigan will shoot the ball just a little bit better from the outside. Michigan will advance with Dusty May in his first season to the Sweet 16. If you want to bet this game, go to BetMGM, the top sports book for betting on college basketball. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you're watching us on YouTube. And also, go to @GruelingTruth on X to follow us there. Now, we did, I think, 10 shows for yesterday's games. We ended up 8-2. We hit a 3-team parlay. We made a little over $600 yesterday. making small bets, usually 10, 20 bets on some parlays, $50 on the games that we had straight up. We picked Drake to win straight up. They won. All right. We picked Arkansas straight up. They won. We had a 3-team parlay of Drake, Arkansas, and Michigan with the point spreads that paid off $50 at $332, I think. So make sure you follow us at Grueling Truth on Twitter for all your sports betting needs. But for now, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.